We gooch.
You guys listen to Harry Styles?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh man,
I've seen like little clips of him on stage
that new album.
being extremely extra.
He did a thing with Shania Twain. Forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never heard it, so it's very easy for me to forget about it.
Shania Twain still got it.
Okay.
That's all.
Who does that? Legitimately, who does that surprise? Not me.
No one.
But yeah.
No red-blooded American should be surprised by that.
Yeah. She still got it.
We're all the non-red-blooded Americans.
We're all the blue-blooded Americans.
That's what their blood looks like on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just saw something black like creep around the corner of my desktop, and I have no idea what it is, and now I'm very scared.
Is it a wolf
It's either
spider?
a spider or a cat.
It's definitely not a cat because my cats are orange and white respectively with no spots.
Yeah, they move fast enough.
I can't wait for 6 minutes from now when you forget and then you're just leaping out of your chair. Because I totally would.
Keep an eye out.
I think I see what it was. I think it was a Ricola wrapper that has a little bit of black, and I think it just blew right around the corner.
That's
and off
way
the
less
nose.
exciting. Way less exciting.
Hopefully,
yeah, but way less
it was
frightening.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully it was that and not something else.
I feel like a woman.
It's episode 234 of the Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture. I'm your host, Brian Barnett.
I'm Joshua Mobley.
I'm Chris Shriver.
Boy.
Man. What a weird sequence of events that occurred and transpired just before we started recording. And conversations that we were talking about. I feel like I need to come down from this whole thing. And the little Spookems about that rapper. Hopefully the rapper.
Spookems. I like that.
But yeah, so this week we got a lot of stuff to talk about, including freaking 3 trade shows or streams or whatever.
Although mostly it was one of them was the good one, right?
Yeah.
I'm very curious if we will agree on which one the good one was, but we'll have to see about that. So the 3 things that happened this week were IGN Expo 2022, Summer Game Fest, which some are lovingly calling Key 3, which I like a lot. And then the Xbox and Bethesda
I just got that
stream. So yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of stuff to touch on. I also got into some really, really cool games this week. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to talk about them, but one of them is in my top 3 for this year. For sure.
Surprise.
So we'll have to, I guess, play that by ear. But where do we want to start?
Well, I only watched the Xbox One, so maybe let's start with the others, so we can plow through those. And then
Chris, what you want? What you want? What you want?
I was gonna say the opposite. I would say we should go through Xbox because the other ones were so uninteresting. That we should probably touch on Xbox first.
Okay.
See, my argument was you could plow through the other one because it's not that interesting, right? And
it's really not.
And then we could get into the interesting part.
Yeah.
We could spend more time on the Xbox One later. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
If that works for you, let's knock these other ones out.
All right. Do it.
Let's start with Summer Games Fest. So I did not look through the things to kind of refresh myself for the show. I meant to do that, but I kind of ran out of time. But we do have a couple of notes from our boy, Chris Shriver. And like everything, Chris Shriver, you know there's going to be some Naughty Dog on this list. So the first thing is The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5, which looks very good, but it doesn't look that much different.
Does it look $70 good with no multiplayer?
It does not.
No.
Too bad. I'm buying it anyway.
I'm sure you are, and I'm sure you are, and a lot of people are. And when you sent the video, I kind of skimmed through it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's very pretty. It's also like not even a decade old, so it's a little odd, right?
I get it.
The remastered version is so good already.
Yeah,
and I brought that up to someone. I was like, we already have a remastered version on PS4. Like, I understand it's a PS3 game, but it's like a late PS3 game. So it people I think kind of forget that it was on PS3.
It's a late PS3 game, and it was a relatively late PS4 game.
No, it wasn't.
Exactly.
So.
Oh well, no.
Was it not?
The Last of Us Remastered? That was one of the first PS4 games we got. It was like
really?
June. Yeah, it was like June 2014 or something like that. It was like a year after it released on PS3. But the main thing with it was that it had gotten like patched, and then when it came out for PS5, it got 60 FPS, 4K.
Okay, so that's the thing.
Yeah, like now it's become
way better.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now it's become this thing where you play it on PS5, and it's like, this is a great way to play this game. But I get why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want it to feel there's a more cohesive flow between that game and part 2, because there was so much time in between. So like in that respect, like they are using the same character models that you see for any of the flashbacks in part 2, for Ellie and Joel. And then from what it sounds like, it's going to be built off the same AI and combat mechanics as part 2 as well. So if you were to play, if you were to be brand new to the franchise, and this is why they're doing it, if you're brand new to the franchise and
there are plenty of people who got a PS5 who probably didn't have a PS4.
Right. And, you know, and you can play...
good amount, probably.
And you can play remastered on the PS Plus collection, but if you're somebody like, you know, you're buying a PS5 right after the HBO series comes out, it's like a great way to just be like, this is the best way to play it. There's part 2. It already has a PS5 patch. Like, you're good to go.
I was going to say that I bet a lot of it has to do with the HBO series coming out and them being like, well, we want like just the 2 parts to be like more cohesive. So we'll have this like rebuilt one, you know, from the ground up.
No, I'm glad they're doing it. It's not entirely necessary, but I'm really happy it's there.
Yeah, and I will be the first to say that like I really do like the character models they used in part 2, and like having them bring some variations of those backwards into part 1, I think does provide a very cohesive kind of look to the game, which like is also important if people are going to be moving forward into part 2. But like also Last of Us Part 2 is also a PS4 game, right? So it's like
it does have a patch now, right?
It does.
The PS5 patch. Yeah.
Well, like in 3 years, are we going to get a Last of Us Part 2 native PS5 release for $70 also?
Christ.
I would be.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it past Sony, but
I don't know. Well, I mean, they did it for Ghost of Tsushima. Like that was. I think the only way they do that is if they like bundle in a DLC package for part 2, which they haven't.
That leads into another sequel or whatever.
Like they've been primarily focused on the multiplayer game that they also just like talked about a little bit, but
which is like a standalone game now or something.
Yeah, and they talked about it being way more expansive, which is something that I'm also interested in because I liked Factions, but it also seems like there's going to be like a single player component to whatever this multiplayer centric thing is, which is like is interesting to me, but I don't know.
That I don't want to say it like annoyed me a little bit, but like I really love the first Last of Us multiplayer. I played it a lot with friends and had some good times. So I was like, oh man, whatever the Last of Us 2 multiplayer is, even though I have like not really any interest in the game, I will check out the multiplayer. But then like reading what Neil Druckmann was saying about it, where he's like, yeah, it's got like a plot and all these things. And I'm like, does it really need that? It's a freaking multiplayer mode. Like, can't we just have, I don't know. It feels like they're just
in the Last of Us 2 engine.
It's almost like they don't believe that people will play it because it doesn't have a story or something. So they have to add one in. And it's like, if it's good, people will play it. Just make a good game.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. Part of me though is like there are still people that play Factions. Like there's a lot of them.
I'm sure.
Like there's a thriving community there for sure. I do like the idea that they're able to tell a new story in that world because it's been a big thing that a lot of fans have requested. It's like it's like the Master Chief thing. Like you don't have to make it about Joel and Ellie and Abby.
I'm with that. Like just tell different stories.
Yeah.
But
and I'm calling it right now. Ashley Johnson is Ellie's mom in the series. I don't know who Troy Baker is, but that's the only thing that makes sense, quite honestly. They've said that she's going to appear. I really don't know who else she would play that has any sort of weight to any existing or non-existing fan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless Troy's her dad, in which case I'm like, really? That was interesting.
We'll see. I don't want to be like the pessimist or whatever, but I just don't care. I don't know. Like,
I don't imagine them
yeah.
making something that's worth. I don't know. Like, the game is what it is, and like I love it for that. I don't need this series. I'll absolutely watch it. But like, if it ends up being like Halo, where I watch it and I'm like, the fuck is this? Then that's fine. Like, I don't need to watch it anymore. Like, I still have the game.
Yeah, I just find it like bleak for bleakness' sake, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Which I just am not into anymore. Like, I really like the first game, but then it's just like I don't know. Something about it, like something changed in me, like since the release of that first game, and now because I'm just like, this doesn't interest me anymore. And I'm glad people find joy in it still, and that's great. But I don't know. I was kind of like, all right, whatever. But it is very pretty to look at, I will say.
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, we got that. Then later on, we got Fort Solice, Solis, which is a game starring Roger Clark from Red Dead 2, and Troy Baker from The Last of Us.
And every other video game you've ever
from
played.
Every other video game.
Yeah. And it's like set on Mars, and you know they're trapped.
Was this the game that was like announced like a decade ago and then was never talked about again and now suddenly came back from the dead?
Ooh,
is this that one?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
There was a game like that was announced. That was like,
They made it sound like this was like pitched during 2020, and then at least when they were talking about it during the event, and they were like, "We just made it super quick," like that it really didn't. It was like a small team, and they kind of just threw it together. I could be totally wrong about that though.
Maybe. I know there is one game that got brought up recently where it was like it got announced somewhere like so long ago and then was totally silent for like almost a decade. Wow. And then all of a sudden is back. They're like, it's coming out later this year, possibly.
Wild.
But it was either that one or something else, but I don't remember.
Yeah, so apparently this is like some thriller or something like that, which is, interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if there was anything else that came out during this that anybody was interested in. The one that really had me freaking out was when they announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge's release date, which was a week after the show, and it comes out in like 3 days. And
that was like the biggest deal for me. I mean, Last of Us would have been had it not gotten leaked a few hours before, but yeah, them coming out and just being like, oh, by the way, it's a week from today, and it's on Game Pass. Like,
yeah, exactly,
even better.
Yeah.
So I was very excited. I've been talking to the PR people, so you will be hearing about this game on next week's show.
You'll be hearing from me.
Yeah, and we'll be able to talk about that.
Cool.
Which I'm really excited. I have not jumped in yet, but I'm excited too.
Random thought, it's very weird that they showed The Last of Us during this and not Sony's thing last week, right? A little odd. At least in my brain.
I agree.
But
I don't know if they're trying to, if they did it because they're trying to like cast a wider net. Like, Xbox fans aren't going to watch a PlayStation event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, more Sony things are coming to PC too. So
yeah, I mean, that's true. That was a big part of the announcement was that.
Yeah.
Because The Last of Us isn't on PC yet.
Right.
I could see that being like the main push for it.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't think about that until like just this second. I was like, wow, that's a little odd.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of weirdness because there are several shows, and granted, the Xbox Bethesda stream is like incredibly specific like that is like microcasting to Bethesda fans and Xbox and PC players. But
yeah, I guess, but it also
like,
felt more like an E3 thing. Just
Yeah,
that
because
wasn't happening during E3.
Yeah.
Well, and because a lot of the announcements were bigger or more substantive.
Oh yeah.
I thought. But we'll definitely get into that. Yeah, so that's all that we have written here. Thanks, Chris, for putting these notes down. Let's go through the IGN Expo 2022. There's a couple of games that I thought looks kind of interesting. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I thought that the Vice NDR CVR game looked kind of interesting. It's like Her Story, but you're a narc, you know? So
it's the gentlest way to put that.
Not the colloquial narc. You're a capital NARC, like
an actual one.
Like an actual narcotics agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that looked kind of interesting. It's like, it's all very retro. Like you're logging into the PC and doing all this sort of exploring through stuff like, you know, like in Her Story. And I find that sort of kind of meta, or like that sort of older gaming experience where it like is simulating a part of life from decades ago that we don't really have anymore. I find that sort of stuff really interesting. And that's coming to Steam. Then we had Ground Divers, which is like a Dig Dug like RPG. I don't know that it's gonna be anywhere near as good as SteamWorld Dig, because those games are absolute bangers.
Yes, they are bangers.
But when I was like, ooh, Dig Dug like, I never played Dig Dug, but SteamWorld Dig is absolutely my jam.
I loved Dig Dug when I was a kid. I played that on my main machine a lot.
Yeah.
So it's coming to Switch on June 30th. Project Warlock 2 looked kind of interesting. It's like a retro Doom-like. It's on early access now, on Steam for like $17, which I thought looked kind of interesting.
Clone.
I didn't play the first Project Warlock, but this one looked pretty interesting.
Oh,
so.
I didn't know there was another one.
I mean, this is called Project Warlock 2, so if it's not, if there's not a first one.
I missed that.
Project Warlock 2, the first one.
Yeah. Wasn't there a Wii game like that they released and it was the number 2, but like there had never been a number 1? Yeah, it was just because they said sequels sold better. With some game you'd buy it like Kohl's, obviously, but
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Then another one that I thought was interesting. The last one that I saw that looked interesting was before I had to shut off the stream and do other stuff for work. Was No Place for Bravery, which is they say it's a Sekiro-like top-down action game, and I thought that looked kind of interesting. It's coming out September 22nd on GOG, Steam, Epic, and Switch. Then Chris, there were a couple that you noted here.
Yeah, there were a few that stuck out to me. Gungrave Gore is like a cyberpunk, super violent shooter game.
Bullets, beauty, badass.
Yeah, they just said that like 1,000 times in the trailer. I just thought the trailer was funny. But it's like so over the top and bloody. You know, like the guy's gun is also a chainsaw. It's like one of those kind of games.
Nice.
I just thought that looked kind of neat.
I don't know about you guys, but every time
No Place for Bravery is rad as fuck. Played that at PAX.
Oh wow, there you go.
Oh okay,
very nice.
I don't know about you guys, but like the word badass is like one of the words that when I hear someone use it like unironically, I immediately am disinterested. Like I don't know what it is. Like I find that just so annoying. Like
it's like it's like in
me as somebody who sometimes uses that word. Okay.
Noted. Yeah. Rose and Locket was another one. It's a 2D action platformer in an underworld Wild West. It almost looked like if you combined like
Kate Beckinsale's Underworld.
What's that?
An underworld Wild West, like Kate Beckinsale's Underworld.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
Let's get the leather out.
Yeah. No, it reminded me a lot of like the movement of Grease, but the combat of Guacamelee a little bit. Like it's slower.
Okay.
But it just looked.
Dang, I'm bummed out that I didn't see this one.
It had a bit of an interesting flair to it. but it also had a look to it where I was like, this could either be pretty good or really disappointing.
Yeah, but how badass was it?
How on a scale from 1 to badass?
Yeah.
How many bullets, how much beauty, and how badass is it?
And then the last one was, I'm going to mess it up, Evotinktion, which is a hacking and stealth 3D action game. It's kind of like this sci-fi world. It's just a lot of sneaking around, and it almost looks like a 3D version of what was the game Mike Bithell did?
Which one? He did a Volume?
Not Volume. It kind of reminded me of Volume, just like the vibe of it. But yeah, I thought that one looked interesting. I'm always down for stealth games. Last of Us, Splinter Cell, all that. So if you can get that into a bite-sized thing, I'm here for it.
That's cool. Like almost like Metal Gear VR missions kind of things.
Yeah,
those were really cool. I loved that.
Exactly.
So that's all the stuff that we have written down for that, which means time. I'm gonna talk about some Xbox.
What is that?
Yeah. Beer.
No shit, Sherlock.
This is a
I mean, he could have been like, "Oh, it's root beer."
A Carbach Brewery Crawford Bock.
Okay.
Is the official drink of the Houston Astros.
I actually would have laughed if it really was root beer.
A root beer. It's a Stewart's.
Dude,
it's
Stewart's root beer is amazing.
I know it is.
Distilled here in Texas. I'm not knocking root beer though. Root beer's delicious.
Also,
root beer is wonderful.
We're about to go to infinity and beyond with this Xbox conference because we're going to the stars, boys.
Yeah.
I wish I had kept all my Disney jelly jars as a child.
Not a jelly jar, actually, just like a bespoke.
No, that looks like a glass. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, like those. My mom has all those. I think
remember
still.
those?
Yeah,
the real
awesome.
old ones. Those are cool. They had like texture on the outside of them, which I really liked.
Yeah.
This one, the paint is just like, you can feel like the paint is like just a little bit thicker, but it's not like. I've got this old C3PO ceramic mug that's like got like a raised star like on the side of it or something like that, and it like comes out to a point. It's like really cool.
You just reminded me. I have not sent you that action figure.
Oh.
I forgot all about it. It's literally sitting like over there.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. I need to do that like this week. I forgot all about that.
I was trying to get that's a little bit that's outside of the show stuff. My parents are moving actually, which has this week's been a little bit emotional for me. My parents just sold their house, which is the house that they've lived in the longest of any of the houses that they've been in while I've been alive.
Wow.
And actually even before then, I think this is actually just the longest place that they've had, and they just sold it. And so they were clearing out some of the stuff, and I had like one or two things still there. And one of them was, I don't actually have it down here, but it's the old action figure case for the old Star Wars stuff, and it's the C-3PO like shoulders and head.
Oh wow, yeah.
And like you open it up, and there's a bunch of little compartments for action figures in there. And we brought this home, and my daughter came downstairs, and it was just like sitting by the door, and she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's C-3PO," and she's like, "C-3PO," and she's just been talking about C-3PO, guy. And she carries him like she can barely lift it because it's so huge. But she like lifts it all the way up the stairs and sat on the couch with it. And she like leaned over and said, "What sort of a movie do you want to watch, C-3PO?" And like all this sort of adorable stuff.
My heart can only take so much, Brian.
Yeah, really.
What's that?
I said my heart can only take so much.
Yeah.
And you're really putting it through its paces right now.
I've got videos of this, and I'm gonna send it to you guys later, and it is painfully adorable.
The shiny guy always worries.
The shiny guy, oh dude, we talk about that video still all the time.
It's so good.
But yeah, so she loves that. So Josh was kind enough to pick us up a cool C-3PO action figure.
He was lucky I was at Star Wars Celebration, like literally the mecca of Star Wars toys. Like any range from cheap to expensive, inbox, not inbox, I could find it. It literally took me 15 minutes to find you something. Like it was not that long.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
On
that's,
card.
I'm gonna let her play with that. So we'll get her a toy. The problem is Audrey, like we play. This is a little bit of a little tangent before we get into the Xbox stuff. We've been watching like movies with her, and it's typically been like Disney movies, like older movies, like Meet Me in St. Louis, like musicals and stuff like that. Sound of Music, which was actually the first time that I ever saw it, was us watching it with her. Even though my mom used to sing, I realized that I absorbed like 80% of that movie through osmosis because my mom would always sing those songs when I was a kid. I think I knew literally every song in that movie except for like one or two.
And you were like, wait a minute.
Just from my mom just singing them around because I think she was in that play at school or something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so then we watched Back to the Future with Riley, she's still super young, but like there's not really anything bad in those movies.
Not really.
Not that much.
I mean, other than like attempted rape at one part.
Yeah, but like
if you're
yeah,
young,
but like
you're
not
really
gonna connect the
yeah,
dots.
she didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And Audrey was kind of like, how, like, should we watch Star Wars? Like, she really loves C-3PO, and I was like, I was like, yeah, what's the worst thing that happens? Like,
hand cut off.
Obi-Wan dies, or like Luke gets his hand cut off, and then I was like, oh no, they burn his aunt and uncle alive, and they show the bodies.
They don't show it; they just show the bodies. Like,
yeah, which like
I don't know. I think I was
like,
4 or 5 when I first saw it.
But I don't think, I think there's a lot of it that she just like straight up would not understand. Or if she did understand, she wouldn't be able to ask us about it. So I'm just like, I really don't want to give my child nightmares about burning bodies.
You do it when you do it.
It's such a quick scene though.
It is. It is. It's like, I could cover her eyes.
And it's early on in the movie. So like, she may, like kids, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I didn't remember those scenes when we watched.
I never absorbed that fact either.
Yeah, it was always like, what did you take out of it? It was the lightsaber battles and the spaceships and all that stuff.
I'm thinking about maybe holding back until like the revelation in Empire is actually something that will hit her.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
See, as a kid, I just thought he was lying.
That is a really cool. That's a fun thing that I didn't know about. People were like, "Yeah, nah, he's the villain. He's gonna lie to you."
Darth Vader is full of shit.
Yeah.
Except on
if Riley says that, so I'll be amazed. But yeah, so let's get into the Xbox and Bethesda stream.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the first thing that they showed, but one of the biggest things they showed was Starfield. Of course, we finally got. Some I don't know if we'd seen gameplay, but I feel like I really grokked the gameplay for the first time this time. And I thought that the shooting actually looked pretty good. If it feels as good as it looks, I feel like this could be one of my favorite Bethesda games. So I guess we'll see.
We'll see. It did look very. My first impression was, oh, this is Fallout in space. Like that was.
I mean,
really, I think the Fallout shooting is so bad, though.
It is.
It is bad, but.
This looked way more like
it could still be bad. You don't know that, right? Like
true.
I would say we don't know that.
That's what I'm saying. If it feels as good as it looks,
I'm with you though. It did look better.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Because
right. My initial thing was like, okay, I like the very like NASA punk thing they're going for, right?
Yeah.
Like aesthetically,
right.
One of my complaints, I think, is that it just looks so like drab and colorless.
Honestly, I think the mistake was showing the planet that they showed. Like it was the first. They were like, "Here's the first gameplay," and everything is gray.
Yeah. Even later on, when they're showing like the montage of planets, and they're like, "We're going to the head, whatever base of the people," and they're talking, I was like, "Man, everything just looks so like colorless and."
Well,
kind of boring,
yeah,
like to look at, right? But
I was kind of impressed when they walked into that like office where that lady was waiting for them, and I was like, "Oh wow, this looks pretty good."
No, yeah, I'm not like the detail and stuff looks great. Like everything looks great. It's just it almost like it reminds me of like when the 360 came out and everything was like brown and dirty and had this just like sepia filter over everything, sort of, right? It to me it's like they got blue gray and they filtered it over the whole thing, and I'm just like.
It's No Man's Sky without the pop.
Yeah, well, I mean, No Man's Sky has a little bit of a like a cartoony edge to it anyway.
Yeah,
And I realize they're trying to go like slightly more realistic with this, but that's fine. But also like colors exist in nature, right? So
Yeah.
I just like there was one shot where they're on like a planet that had like it had like palm trees or something. I was like, "Oh my God, color." And then they went away from it and it was like after that I was like, "Man, everything just looks so like drab and like lifeless." It's kind of like I don't know. It's not awful, but to me I was like, "Man, I'm not into this aspect of it." I would say.
Honestly, it reminded me. The more I think about it, the more it reminds me of like Outer Worlds, and it's like Outer Worlds meets Fallout, just in that like lived-in space. At least some of the locales that we had.
Some of them, like the like city kind of scapes they showed with all the neon and stuff.
Well, they
right?
had that. Well, that was more cyberpunk, and then they had one that was more. It was just like a dirt road, but you were in a town, and everything was just like kind of metal and beat up.
Mm.
I mean, this.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah.
I was gonna say the space battles look kind of cool. I don't know how much of that you're gonna end up doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think like I don't know. My whole thing with this game is like it's the same thing with every like I don't typically play Bethesda games for very long. I think Fallout 4 was probably the most I played one. And
wow.
I know. Well, I watched people play Skyrim for like literally an entire semester, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I think the only Bethesda games I played the isometric tactics game, which I think was Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. It came out, or I played it around like 2001, or something like that. Like I played that, and then I played Skyrim. I bounced the hell off of Elder Scrolls 4, and then played a ton of Skyrim, and I think I 100%ed Fallout 4 on Xbox. But yeah, those are the only ones that I've really gotten into.
Yeah. Oblivion I was really into. I played probably close to 100 hours in that. Skyrim probably 50 to 100 hours in and beat it. And then Fallout 3 I put a significant amount of time into. I was like obsessed with that game. Fallout 4 not so much. But I did enjoy Fallout 3 like a lot.
I just feel like a lot of the like these games, or this game specifically, because I feel the same way about No Man's Sky. Like, it's so big that I get to a point where I get overwhelmed that I'm just like, I don't even know how I could begin to try to play this and not like it just feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just like you get into this thing and it's like it's as long as you want it to be.
Like, well, what if I want it to be 5 hours long?
Right.
And a very focused experience.
And the nice thing about at least like the Skyrim games is, well, Fallout games too, is like they have these subplot campaigns that you can do. Like you could just be like, I just want to play Skyrim and I just want to do the whole Dark Brotherhood story from beginning to end, which will take maybe like 4 or 5 hours. And you're like, then I don't want to play ever again. You could totally do that, or you can do the whole like main plot, which I actually think the main plot in Skyrim is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then there's all the other, like you could be Master of Hogwarts and all that, you know.
Master Hogwarts.
Yeah, but Anyway, Starfield, I am glad I saw that your character doesn't talk, which I'm actually really thankful for, because it seemed cool at the time when we were getting Fallout 4, but then when you get it, you're like, oh, but it like super limits like how you can engage, because they have to voice all of these lines, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you play like New Vegas or something, you could have like 8 different responses that all do all kinds of stuff. But in Fallout 4, it was like you get 3, and they have to be like really specific, and like,
and you can almost never find a response that actually fits what you want to do.
Yeah, it was harder to like role play, you know, in that setting and stuff. I also was a little annoyed that like if you played a female character, like you weren't the war veteran in the household of like your spouses and all that. That was like really weird and
we standing up, Chris?
Choice.
All right.
I think it was I think they did that because like I assume it takes place. I think it takes place after World War II, right? And like that's
it's way in the future.
In Fallout 4,
dude. Yes, because the Fallout timeline is like fuse after World War II is when it breaks off. But it's like hundreds of years, like even I think past like before the nukes drop, it's like decades later.
Oh shit.
It's way later.
It's been a while.
Like, yeah, like there's a whole like American Canadian War and stuff that have there's like Fallout lore is super deep and long. But yeah, like the year is like
and long.
2090 something. I don't know. It was just it's a strange choice, but also like the voicing thing is very
yeah.
It kind of limits you. So I was happy to hear that Starfield doesn't have that. It's going to be just very like role play, because that is one of the aspects of these like Bethesda games that I think is what works best for them, is that you can sort of just like play kind of how you want and be like, I'm gonna be like the master thief in Skyrim, or I'm gonna be just straight up Brotherhood of Steel guy in Fallout, you know, and I'm gonna stick to that like no matter what, or just
I'm gonna crouch in this corner for 8 hours and
I'm gonna be all the above,
you
know, like and that's cool. But yeah, I would say my one complaint of Starfield, just looking at it, was like it just looks kind of boring. Not aesthetically, I guess a little aesthetically, but not like the actual like shape and style of things, because I do like the like very NASA punk thing they're going for. I think it's neat. And nobody really does that. They always want to do these like super, they try to take stuff from like Star Wars and Star Trek and like want these super futuristic like things, you know, like Battlestar Galactica fighters. And this game's kind of like, no, we want like things that look like space shuttles, but you know what they might look like 300 years in the future. And people wear like big space suits with helmets and stuff. It's like, yes, that's cool.
What if now, but more?
Yeah.
Yes. It's just the like the lack of color, and it's just kind of like not super interesting to me to look at, is maybe my one complaint. Like, and then the other thing that was like slightly like a red flag, but not like a total red flag to me, was at the end when they're like, oh, there's hundreds of systems and 1,000 more planets. And I'm like, okay, but like, how many of those are handcrafted areas? Because
how many of those did you make,
and
how many of those did your AI friend make for you?
I bet the AI made the vast majority of them, and then I think they probably went in and tweaked areas that they want you to go to, right? But the idea that like there's going to be 1,000 maps and they're all going to be interesting, and they're like you can land anywhere on any of these planets, it's like, it's probably not going to be that interesting. Like just the grand scale that like doesn't make it more interesting. Like if it is, then great. If they've populated this galaxy with tons of shit to explore and do, awesome. But I just, every time I've seen people try to do that, it just never quite works right. Like, or it never quite feels right, or it's like not as rewarding. So we'll see. But
I mean, the best thing about it is
it'll
be on Game Pass. Like,
yes,
we'll all be able to try it.
Pass. I did like the ship customization aspect of it. I was like, that's neat. I was
like, this is gonna be a pain in the dick on controller. This is gonna be like this.
There's gonna be a lot of that in this game, I think, where people are just gonna be like, you know what? Bump my save to the cloud and I'll go do this on the computer.
Yeah. I was thinking about that while watching. I was like, man, I probably will play this on PC, because if it uses like HOTAS and stuff for the flying, that would be awesome.
That'd be really cool.
That would be cool, particularly because this is delivering like on a degree of that No Man's Sky, or like the thing that people in Destiny have been asking for forever, which is like, let me explore this planet and get some loot, and then just hop my ship and just fly away. Land somewhere else, you know. Yeah. Which I think is awesome. Like, I think there's one thing I will say for this, like, given that like a lot of times my understanding of a game and my opinion of a game really comes alive, and my thoughts really start flowing when it's in my hands. The idea of what they're doing with this is really ambitious. I think the trouble is it's so ambitious, and we've seen Bethesda specifically not exactly nail the landing on way less ambitious things. So the thing that I was saying afterwards, my kind of takeaway is, it's really, I want this game to be amazing. it's hard to believe that Bethesda can raise the
bar and not fumble.
Can expand the scope of what they do simultaneously with raising the level of quality on what they're delivering. Those two things are so difficult to do just even by themselves, and trying to do them together in one game, you know, is they are setting the bar very high for themselves, and it's probably going to come around, and if it's not at a certain level, it's not going to look good.
Yeah,
particularly because they're part of Xbox now, and there's a lot of like, as good as Halo Infinite is, there's a lot of people that are not happy with how the multiplayer is being handled. I've heard people say that it's a live service without any of the live service, and things like that. Like, there's, you know, I want Xbox to succeed. I want Bethesda to succeed, and I think that they are aiming for the stars, and we're gonna see if they can hit them. But
yeah, I do want the game to be good, and I am interested in it because I like a lot of the games Bethesda's made. It just is unfortunate that the last 2 Fallout games they've made have not really struck me, and I really love that franchise. And they still haven't really talked about Elder Scrolls 6 much, but
yeah,
I don't know. But Elder Scrolls
it's not
Online
coming until afterwards, so
is very good. I will say that. Elder
game's
Scrolls
not
Online is
coming
very good
for a long time.
It's probably not, but I want Starfield to be good. I just immediately was kind of like, man, this feels really like, you know, promises that might not be kept, sort of, when they were describing a lot of it, you know. So we'll see. We'll see. But I am happy that it's gonna be on Game Pass, because that also helps a lot.
Yeah, but that was
Starfield.
a little bit down the list for me.
Yeah.
One of the hypest moments was when Team Cherry popped up and we saw Hollow Knight Silk Song.
I had a feeling. I was like, Brian's probably having a good day right now.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, yeah, I was very excited to see it.
And now you've got context for this.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a bummer though that there's still no date.
I was like, release date.
Oh, they really didn't show a release date.
They didn't show a release date, but on top
they
of
said
it,
day one on Game Pass. Yeah.
I never saw the end of it, but I will say, in the IGN Slack, the news people were going back and forth trying to get a hold of Team Cherry PR, because it sounded like Team Cherry was kind of like shitting a brick a little bit over the fact that Xbox was like, everything in this showcase comes out in the next 12 months. And I don't think Team Cherry ever agreed to say that, because the rumor is that originally that was supposed to be at Summer Games Fest. And then it got moved to the Xbox One so they could say it's coming to Game Pass day one. So I don't know when this game's coming out, if ever.
It was cool of them to say, like, all this stuff's going to be with you in the next 12 months, because there's stuff that I didn't expect to be out in the next year shown. But, I mean, that doesn't mean things can't get delayed, right? So,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the past couple of years
there are a few things I fully expect to get delayed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was very excited about that because this is like the new Below. Like, this is just a game that we saw, and it's like, yo, this looks sick as hell. When is it coming out? I'll see you in 6 years for when maybe some dribble out another crumb.
Yeah,
another crumb of information.
I mean, it's crazy that that's only the second, right? The second trailer that we've ever gotten.
Yes,
yeah,
I think
that's insane.
Which is just absolutely wild. But here, the thing with this, and this is what I said I was hanging out with some games industry people in the voice chat watching this. And I will say, of all of the Metroid style exploration games that are discussed in the greatest of all time, Super Metroid is the best. there's only one other game that I will entertain the argument that it is the best, and that is Hollow Knight. That's the only other game in the genre that I'm like, you know what? I can definitely see the argument for this being better even than Super Metroid. I just can't make myself go to there. Although it's probably tied. But yeah. So my expectations for Silk Song are that it's going to be an absolute masterpiece.
Wicked
because
smart.
because I gave the first game a 10. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm incredibly excited.
and I had $30 to Fangamer that I had to spend, so I got their little the Wanderer's Journal through Hollow Nest. It has like all this art and stuff like that. I thought
That's
it was
awesome.
gonna be like, oh, here's a map of the area and everything like that, and like something I could actually use while I was playing. And it's like, nope, it's just cute little writings about little bugs. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But I'm glad I didn't actually have to pay for it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was really exciting. A big thing was the announcement of the partnership with Riot Games.
That was a huge deal, and I feel like not that many people are making a big deal about it.
I'm with you, Brian. I'm sorry. I'm with you, Chris. Also, I'm with you, Brian.
I mean, I also was saying that it was a big deal.
Yeah.
As someone who like very casually plays like League and Teamfight Tactics and stuff, like when they first started, like when Riot first started popping up, I was like, okay, maybe they'll just talk about like Wild Rift, or they'll say like, oh, Valorant's coming to console or something, which is like something I imagine will happen right at some point. But then they're like, no, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, like you just get every League of Legends champion, you get every champion in League Wild Rift, you get every character in Valorant, you get all of the regional like base packs in Legends of Runeterra, which is a thing you have to like actually play the game to get. It takes a long time to get though. And then you also get a bunch of the little like, they're called little legends. The little legends for Teamfight Tactics, like you don't get all of them, but you get like a select amount of them. And I'm like, I just get this? Like I'm already like paying for Game Pass, and I play League like very casually. I'm like, I just get all this stuff. That's like incredible. Especially for League of Legends, which is a game that's been going on for like over a decade now, and has 100+ characters that if you were gonna like whale it up, you know, and log in with a brand new account and just buy all the characters, it would cost you, I'm probably not even exaggerating, probably $1,000 or more
easily.
Now you just get them. Like, that's freaking amazing.
The best deal in Game Pass? Probably.
It's pretty big deal. I mean, it's not like you can't earn those League characters just by playing. Like, you don't have to spend money if you don't want to. But like the amount of time it takes and dedication to like get all the characters is a lot.
Yeah,
like, you have to play a lot.
All I thought was like the number of League players that, you know, they've been playing since like day one, and they're just like, oh my god, like all these people just get it for free. And I mean, I get it, like it's smart,
not free as part of their subscription.
With their subscription. Yeah. It makes sense though for, you know, because there will be people that, okay, now I'll try League of Legends, I have access to everything, and then they may not re-up Game Pass, and then it's like, oh well, I'm into this League of Legends thing now. Like it does make sense for them. I don't know how many new players League is getting at this rate.
A lot. After Arcane, a lot.
Oh really? Oh yeah, that makes sense actually, yeah.
There was a huge influx of new players after Arcane because those characters are characters you can play. So like, you know, when and then even they did like a whole cross promotion thing too when the show came out. They did a whole like event where if you played every week that you played, like they were giving you a character from the show. So they were like, here's Vi, here's Caitlyn, here's Jinx, like basically for free, for like nothing.
Wow.
And then they had a special skin for those characters that look like the way they do in Arcane, because they don't typically look like the way they do in the show, right? So they were like, here's Caitlyn not looking super stupid with the big hat, you know? It's like, here's Vi, who looks more like toned down because this is what she looks like in the show, not like in, you know, because the canons are like separate, basically. It's very, yeah, it got a lot. I would expect this will make it go up again, even more.
Yeah.
If I had to
That's
guess.
cool.
But no, this is a big deal. This was like the first thing in the show that made me audibly go, "Oh, okay," out loud, because it was like
There's
this
another
is
one
like,
coming later that we'll get
yeah.
into.
I was like,
Uh,
damn, this is a big like deal, and I immediately knew it was like nobody's gonna really mention how fucking how much of a steal this is for people that even just casually play these games. My friends that I play League with were like over the moon about this. We were like, holy shit, I just get access to all the characters, I get all this other stuff, and like Runeterra's like, this is amazing. Like I'm in love, right? So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna be dipping into these for sure. But yeah, even I think I played like one League game ever.
I think you played with me.
Maybe, yeah.
You're on my friends list. I see you on there whenever I play.
Yeah, I'm open to it. It's like it's one of those. Well, and like one of my friends just dropped the recent Guilty Gear patch is like out of control. So like some people are quitting, including some people that I know and play with regularly. So I might have some more time on my hands. So we'll see. Maybe I'll play some more League or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
another game that they showed off actually gameplay for this time. I don't think they showed gameplay for previously. Was Plague Tale Requiem.
Yeah,
which
not
looks
that
interesting.
I'm aware of.
We got a cinematic trailer last year.
Yeah, game looks great. Looks really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't play the first one, but this looked good.
I played a bit of it, but fell off. And I think Chris is definitely the one who went the furthest out of all.
Yeah,
of us.
I finished it. This one's more exciting because it seems like there's more weapon options than the first one was. What I liked about the first one was from a story perspective, like it made sense that you like didn't have this full arsenal of at your disposal.
Your tiny infant Bab.
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't thrilled with how that game ended, and I'm very interested to see how that plays out in this one. But that being said, I really like the story, and I'll probably check it out. And it'll be on Game Pass, so I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
A lot, like I would say, I think a good like 80% of the games they showed at this were like, yeah, it's gonna be on Game Pass.
Yeah,
pretty much,
which is awesome.
It is
one
awesome.
thing I thought was very interesting, particularly given how much I didn't like Hot Wheels Unleashed, was the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels stuff, which looks so fun.
Yeah, they had this in Forza Horizon 4, and it was so fun. I was the only one that played it, at least on this show. Horizon 4 or 3, one of them had it, and then the other one had Lego. Maybe the same game.
I think 4 was the one that was like in France or Europe
remember.
or something like that. Spain, Italy.
But yeah, this will.
It was one of those places.
This will be very, very fun. If you're into the
wait,
that
4 was in Australia, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think 4 was in Australia. Damn, I don't remember.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it all blends together.
We're driving.
Yeah. But yeah, this is coming out in July. I'm very excited for this. Motorsport, I don't know if they dated. It's probably September, October. That's usually when they come out.
I don't like sim racers,
that was
so
one of the
I'm gonna
moments I
pass on this
checked out
one.
a little.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually them just being like, look how good the game looks.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, it does look good. Yeah.
It does look very good. I'm not a racing game person for the most part. So whenever they tend to do this, I'm always like, okay, this is the moment where my brain can take a break.
Yeah, I can
This is
go
the moment
pee
when I
now.
can step away, go to the bathroom, crack
Yeah.
open a cold one with the
Yeah,
boys.
Exactly.
With the boys.
The boys are there. They're like, oh yeah.
The boys from Amazon's The Boys are there, cracking open a cold one with me.
This next one I'm very excited to try out.
Go for it.
They're adding Halo content to Flight Simulator.
Oh yeah.
So you can fly the
that was
Pelican.
funny.
I just think it's like such a neat, like funny thing. I love the idea of being able to
It
fly
is.
over my neighborhood in like a Halo vehicle. So I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna
I thought
do
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how
was pretty
far
funny.
you can go, like how high you can go, because that.
Well, they showed you going to
They
space.
showed you going to space.
Yeah, but like how far? You know what I mean? Like
I'm
how...
sure it's like the upper atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Like
Microsoft Flight to the Moon Simulator.
That's what I'm saying.
called
Microsoft Starfield. Yeah. That's a neat little.
Technically, it is sort of Microsoft Starfield.
Yeah, but between that and like they're doing the Top Gun DLC, I just love the stuff that they're adding. They're like, yeah, we made this incredibly realistic thing. Oh, by the way,
We're gonna do something ridiculous in it.
By the way, Halo. Yeah.
I'm sure the modding community for that game is really fun. There's probably all kinds of weird, wacky like planes and things.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Speaking of weird and wacky things, Scorn, the H.R. Geiger, freaking body horror game.
Oh,
I can't wait to live in this game.
That's so disgusting.
Oh man, it's gonna be so gross. I'm so excited. Just wince at everything.
It looked interesting.
We're gonna start you off with having to pull out your own umbilical cord. Oh, by the way, it's like a foot in diameter.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That feels like some kind of Dark Souls thing to me.
Got some girth to it.
It is clear to me that you've never played a Dark Souls game.
Girthy umbilical cord. I've played them all.
Hey, girthy umbilical cords, baby.
Hey.
Sometimes your umbilical cord is just too big. So next, they talked about some Sea of Thieves stuff, and this was the time for me to check out.
Hold the fuck on.
I have things to say about
this. Was a great like commercial ad trailer, whatever you want to call it. They made the whole thing like a pirate sea shanty and just made it so welcoming.
You ready, kids?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Are you ready to name your boat? I was like, I am ready.
Yeah.
Sign
you can buy a boat. Yeah. I don't play Sea of Thieves mainly because I don't have friends.
Chris, just tell me, I'll play with you.
I know.
I have like 8 friends that play this game.
It's fun. That's why.
Every time,
none of them can guarantee me that I won't be attacked by a kraken. So
I can, because you have to go to the kraken physically. A shark, I cannot guarantee you, but the kraken, yes, I can guarantee you.
Every time I try to play it, I feel like I just don't know what to do.
You trying to play alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only done it a few times, and it's always like I start playing it and then something else happens and then I like move on. It just like it never grabs me. I want to love this game, but
just
let's do a group
call
thing.
Me up,
we'll
dude.
We can get it to
I'll
grab
posse
us,
up with you. We'll play. It can be as involved or as not involved as you want.
Yeah.
This sounds like you're inviting us to like a swingers party.
No,
just do whatever you're comfortable with, man.
Look,
I don't want you doing anything.
Everybody here is down. If you want to stand to the edges,
that's okay too.
If you want
no one's gonna judge you.
Into the nitty gritty, well, you just go on ahead. That's my impression of Josh in like a velour robe.
Oh my god. Sea of Thieves has grown like
wearing
a ton.
leather assless chaps.
Oh my god, it's grown a lot since it first released. Because when it first released, it was kind of like, what do I do? There's not much to do.
Well,
really.
yeah, and that's
there's a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah.
There's a PvP mode. There's the like Pirates of the Caribbean like story content. There's the Sea of Thieves story content. There's just like all this. There's all this other just stuff like wacky shit you can get into. It's fun. It's great. It's a nice, chill evening with friends to just get into. Every time I play, something goofy happens.
Yeah.
Like without fail. Now, if you played it every day, I could see you like get tired of it. But we play it maybe like once a month, once every few weeks. And every time, so there's always some dumb story or somebody did something stupid and it was really funny, or whatever. Like it's a great time. And one of the things that they're putting in this next patch was like boat loadouts, which is a thing that we were literally last week when we played just complaining about, because we like one of our friends bought this skin for our boat that's like pink and we run the rainbow flag and everything, and like just make it. It's just this decadent nonsense. But like he has to go to the ship and like push everything and like make it all pop up. But now we'll be able to like push of a button, just be like bam, that'll be nice. The decorating your captain's quarters is pretty cool. That's like a thing that just doesn't exist now. So it's like, oh, and like to get all the items for that, you know, you have to go do like achievements in the world and stuff, which is also really neat. It incentivizes you to just go do stuff maybe you've never done before,
Right.
which is really neat and cool. And then naming your boat, like I think that's just fun. Like that's just funny. It's like no one's really gonna see it or
Well,
care.
even what was the trailer?
But
Like
you'll know.
Booty McBootface or whatever. Or Booty McBoot.
Yeah, it was like Booty McBootface or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like, and I like that in the lyrics of the song they were like, as long as it passes the content censors or whatever you can name your boat or whatever. It's just like, it's great. So yeah, that's just like goofy. They just add a lot of goofy stuff to the game like that, and it's very fun. It's a nice fun time with your friends to just do goofy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Cool. So
but yeah, hit me up. I will play with people in a heartbeat.
I will
show them the wonder of Sea of Thieves.
Kick off the install tomorrow just for you.
Okay.
So next we have my third favorite thing of the showcase, and that is the reveal. Well, the re-reveal and more gameplay for Diablo 4, which looks fun.
I can't wait for Bobby to be gone. I miss Diablo so much. You have no idea. Like I've been scratching at the neck wanting to play Diablo 3, and I've tried playing everything that's like sort of like Diablo 3, and it's not the same.
Nothing is the same.
It's not the same. I'm like, this is like one of the greatest games ever made, and it's just not the same. You know, like
Josh,
and yeah, Diablo 4 looks awesome.
How many hours have we spent playing Diablo 3? Like, it's not even...
It's hundreds, probably.
It's not even funny.
It's pretty high.
We are going to play the absolute hell out of Diablo 4, man, and I cannot wait.
Pun intended. I was surprised that they're only doing 5 classes. And they're all pretty much, I think, other than Druid, right? They're all like Diablo 2 classes, which
it's all Diablo 2 or Diablo 2 DLC, like the Lord of Destruction classes.
Yeah, but they'll add
Druid in that.
Yeah, the Druid and the Assassin were in the Lord of Destruction DLC for Diablo 2.
Okay.
So it's straight up. They're just going back, which is cool.
I appreciate that.
Those were good classes.
And they'll add more.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no world where they don't add like some of these classes that are so iconic, right?
Yeah. And even like I'm probably alone in this, but like I really loved the Witch Doctor from Diablo 3. Like that is one of my favorite classes ever.
Yeah, that one wasn't one of my favorites, but I want you to have it.
Yeah. And it's very much like when it first started out, like I played the Witch Doctor because there wasn't a Necromancer. Which was the class that I played in Diablo 2.
Now there is a Necromancer.
Now there is one. But the Necromancer is still different, you know? And the movement speed, spirit jaunt, and like summoning zombies and like the way that zombies worked differently to like undead and stuff like that. And their stuff was, yeah, I don't know, it just had a different flavor. So I would be really surprised if they added the Witch Doctor to Diablo 4, but I'd be very pleased if they did. Or
I mean,
like
they might. Like, if they Paladin, I could see coming at some point, but I wouldn't say like never say never to a lot of these things.
Sure.
You're the best.
But it looks good. I think Diablo 4 looks really good.
And I think it looks good too. I'm still kind of like waiting for Bobby to be gone.
Waiting for Bobby.
These games. Like, because there was the Overwatch 2 thing too, and which we'll talk about probably in a minute. And like, I was like, God, I'm like really wanting to play these games again, but I just feel like I can't support. Like, to be fair though, Activision Blizzard in like the last few months have been making a lot of great moves, which I think are very positive. Like just with their stuff with unions, like recognizing a lot of the unions and stuff. And then also making like all their
Microsoft did something like yesterday.
Yeah. And then also they
apply to them when and if they acquire Activision Blizzard.
They also made all of their QA testers like full employees, which QA testing is one of the most thankless jobs like in the entire game industry. And so like that is a huge move, I think, towards like a positive outlook for the company and stuff. So I've said that they're getting there, right? They're making a lot of good moves and stuff. And then they hired some woman whose name I honestly can't remember, but she's like head of like diversity or something there. I forget, but it's like
Oh yeah, I
a new
remember this
position. Yeah. Great moves. I don't necessarily want to I'm getting maybe close to being like I could play the games again, but I'm still not quite like at the like I'm gonna spend money, you know. I just Bobby, man, he sucks.
He really does. I'm also very
I don't think that's
curious.
very controversial.
No. No.
Can
that
you
dude
believe?
Sucks. No, he threatened somebody's life and is he's a piece of shit. But and I don't say that about people very often.
Right.
I say it all the
he
time.
He is.
I don't like to say things like that, but by all appearances, he's really just the worst. But one thing I'm waiting for is the revelation of whether Diablo 4 is going to be like Diablo 3 with its internet requirements, because I really do not like that Diablo 3 on PC still requires an internet connection and the console versions don't.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then I will probably buy Diablo 4 on Xbox or something like that. I prefer it on PC.
I won't go that far.
But
why?
I just hate it, man.
No, but what is buying it on Xbox? Like, what difference does that make if it's on Xbox versus PC if it requires an internet connection?
Because the console versions for Diablo 3 didn't require the internet connection.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, by their nature, I don't think they can, right? Like,
well,
it's also a boxed product.
I mean, Destiny does, so.
Yeah, but Destiny's free to play now. So
yeah, but it wasn't.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, like that was a big difference when those games came out. And when I was playing like hardcore mode or something like that, and I was like, let me try this. And like, if you die, that's it. Your character is deleted. And like, I would just get like a random lag spike or something, and then I would get DC'd, or my character would be dead or something like that, or like I would just not be able to connect, and then I couldn't play the game, and it sucked. And I know that is like a thing that a lot of people were like, whatever if it requires a connection, but it's like that shouldn't be required. That's a ridiculous demand. Like, you don't need, unless it's a online multiplayer like game only and there's no single player component, you shouldn't be requiring an internet connection.
I mean,
just require it if you want to go online.
Was that like an early, and we may not know, an early form of like anti-cheat? Like, is that why they did that?
Probably because when Diablo 3 launched, they had the real money auction house.
Right.
That and I know that cheating on the console versions of Diablo was like pretty like rampant, like just save editing.
Yeah.
Well, like, who cares? They never came out with that multiplayer mode anyway, where it was like versus. No,
but the thing is though that like people take the seasonal ladders incredibly seriously.
That's fair.
And I think the way they get around it though is saying like, if you want to play seasonal ladder, you have to be connected to the internet. That's, I think, a fair enough, easy workaround. But if you just want to play the campaign or like play couch co-op, I think, maybe just say like, you don't need to be on the internet for this, but maybe you can't. Because I know Diablo 2, you had like offline characters and online characters. Like, you could do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, but it's not a deal breaker to me. It's whatever, because most of the time I'm playing this game, I'm going to be playing with my friends anyway. So
it's not a deal breaker to me, and I definitely prefer to play something on PC. But because that gives me like more input options and things like this. But I was so annoyed with that I spent a lot of time on I platinumed the PS4 version of the game, and then I also like 100%ed the Xbox version of the game. I played so much Diablo 3. It's ridiculous.
I platinumed I think I platinumed the PS3 version, but it took so long that I was like, never again. And then I stopped caring about trophies after that. So
yeah. The one where you have to do 500 like bounty missions was like
unreal.
That was the one that took me the longest.
It became like a podcast game because it was like, I don't need to do this shit anymore.
Exactly. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about from this conference, go ahead, because I want to end on my favorite reveal.
I mean, there's the last one that's in the
show notes,
right? Like,
what's that?
There's a ton of stuff. I was like, but there's like still a ton of stuff.
There's a I mean,
this is all the stuff that just Chris made a note of. So if there's other stuff that you want to mention, like run through it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, one of the things that I saw after, which wasn't at the press conference to my knowledge, was that like Darktide, Warhammer 40k Darktide, a game that I'm actually kind of excited for, is gonna be on Game Pass. Just like, oh fuck yeah, that's so good.
Is that the tactics one, or is that the
no? That is
the shooter
that
one?
That is like Vermintide 2.
Oh, this is the 40K one where like there was a people with, that was like the big dude with the hammer. He was like smashing people's brains in and stuff.
It's Left 4 Dead with loot. That's what Vermintide is. Darktide is the 40k version of Vermintide 2. So it's
So I think this is how they opened the show
in 40k.
Yeah, I think this is how they opened the show.
No, they opened it with. I mean, they might have had like a montage, but I don't remember seeing that early.
I remember seeing it really early, but yeah.
Yeah, there was that. There was all the Persona games coming to Game Pass, which is a big deal for a lot of people.
This is my favorite announcement from this.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yes.
Also, the thing they opened with was Redfall, not Darktide.
Oh yeah. Well, that wasn't on there. Why, Chris?
Oh yeah, I don't know why Redfall wasn't on there. But yeah, Redfall
this is
looks
Arcane,
cool.
my friend.
Redfall looks cool.
Redfall looks really cool. We got gameplay. It looks really great.
I like
surprising
the banter.
Nobody. It's Arcane. Come on, it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yes, Persona is coming to Xbox and is going to be on Game Pass. Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal.
Can I ask?
Are coming to Game Pass and to Steam.
Are you excited for other people to play this, or are you excited because you want to play them?
Both. I'm excited because this brings this to the Xbox. For all of these, I'm excited for Xbox players to finally get to play these dope games. For me, I'm excited to be able to play Persona 3 Portable again.
Okay.
Because that's my favorite Persona game.
I just asked because a couple weeks ago you were like, God, the Persona games are just too goddamn long.
Yes, they're too long, and they're not like Persona 4 and 5 were good, but they were a letdown after 3. 3 is still my favorite.
Yeah.
3 has the best characters.
So
it has the most interesting story. And like I was completely engrossed with that on PSP. And I never actually beat it. I know how it ends and like that, but like I got most of the way through it, but then I forget what happened. Something happened to my PSP, I think.
When the trailer for this started, I started freaking out because I thought it was going to be a remake. And then like as soon as I saw the graphics, it was like P3P, and I was like, fuck. This is all it is.
If they were remaking Persona 3, my God. I'd be so excited.
So yeah, it's not just coming to Xbox.
I thought you didn't like remakes because you already played them before.
I didn't finish this one.
I fucking got him.
Also the version of Persona 3 that I played didn't have like running around. You moved from place to place with like clicking on nodes.
Yeah,
because it was the PSP version, not the PS2 version. And also there's Persona 3 Portable, or there's Persona 3 FES, which is the like expanded version that has like extra chapters and stuff. So if that ever comes out, I'd be interested to play that because there's a lot of stuff in there that I just never got to experience. So the reason I'm excited about this is a game that I loved that I didn't finish and I'd like to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of and like after playing 4 and 5, like it's been, how long has it been since that we've had 2 failed Sony handhelds in the time since I've played this game.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the second one?
The Vita.
The
PSP disappeared, and then the Vita came out and it disappeared.
But the PSP was wildly successful. Like, it wasn't a DS, obviously, but it still sold like a shitload.
Yeah, sure.
The UMD movies, however,
loved them. I've literally got my Vita right here. I loved them, but
I loved the Vita also.
They weren't successful,
but they were expensive.
Yeah. What I wanted to say is this is also coming to Steam and PS5.
Which Steam is where I will be acquiring Persona 3.
Aren't they all in Game Pass also, though?
Because here's
the thing.
They will
be, yeah.
The great thing about this is that I'll be able to play Persona 3 Portable on my Steam Deck that I just completed ordering today.
There you go.
Hey, there he is.
I'm so excited.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Okay, so Josh, go through what else you thought was notable in the thing. Obviously, Redfall. I'm a big fan of that. Can't wait.
We'll talk about that in a minute. There was a game that they showed called The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Oh yes.
And I got some like super.
Did I see this? I don't think I saw this.
It was like a side-scrolling game where you were like a detective, and it was like eldritch horror looking.
It's very dark.
Hello. Excuse me?
It looked very cool.
Yeah.
Hold on. The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Don't sound so enthusiastic.
Yeah, really.
Here.
Don't sound so excited.
Let me see this.
It's like a 2D platformer puzzle-looking kind of game.
Yeah. It looked very cool.
Well, keep talking.
I was very into the art style. I love
what?
stuff.
No, I definitely didn't see this. Holy shit.
Obviously my favorite game of all time is Eternal Darkness, which is very inspired by like Lovecraftian horror, and this is like
right in there.
This is up there for me. Yeah. So
yeah, this looks.
I think this looks cool.
This looks very good. You all know how big a fan I am of Lovecraft stuff.
The other thing I thought was really interesting, and probably the last thing that was of like note before we go to Redfall, was Overwatch 2 being free to play. That was actually like
PvP being free to play.
Sooner. PvP, yes.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's probably the best move at this point. Like,
well, yeah, they know they have to compete with Valorant and every other free-to-play shooter.
And I was very curious about like what the sentiment would be, because I'm still on the Overwatch subreddit, and I see pretty regularly, like when the beta was going on, I saw a lot of posts where like, man, this just like, it feels pretty good, but like this shouldn't have taken 2 years, because like Overwatch 1 basically has ceased to get anything like other than a couple of skins for like basically 2 years. No characters, no maps.
Yeah.
Because all the work was going into Overwatch 2. And then there's all these stories about how like people who were working on Overwatch 2 were getting pulled off to go to other like Activision Blizzard projects because they just were putting it on the back burner for a long time and stuff. So it's like, how do you like, and the community is like barely hanging on at this point.
It feels like Overwatch 1 is not a priority, but also Overwatch 2 is kind of not a priority for them.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, this to me feels like the shot in the arm that the franchise sort of needs to like come back to relevance, because just people want to love it, people want to keep playing it, but just like the lack of anything coming to the game, and the fact that it's like a boxed product that you still have to buy and stuff, and that Overwatch 2 was going to be this boxed product that you were going to have to buy that would have shared multiplayer still with the first game, but like you essentially, it was like people who didn't want to play the single player were kind of like, yeah, but like why would I buy this? Like I'm buying an update basically, you know, to the game.
Yeah.
Like it looks better.
You're making me pay for a patch.
Exactly. So I think this is a great move actually, to just make it free to play. I think it means that the population will skyrocket. It will be much more popular. I saw someone say "Rip Paladins" in the comments, because like that was honestly like one of Paladins is a pretty good game. Right, I've played it a bit, and like it is different enough from Overwatch, but a lot of Overwatch people went to Paladins because it just gets lots of content like pretty regularly. I feel like now that this is free to play, and if they really commit to stuff, like I think Overwatch 2 will be it'll be much more popular again. Like we'll have actual big player populations and stuff again, which is only a good thing. I think the only concern now is like, how do they monetize this? Because I am of the belief that like that game is going to get battle passes one way or another at some point. Like just I can't see a world where it doesn't, you know. But we'll see. But I thought that was cool. Still though, I'm like, Bobby, I need you gone. And then they revealed a new character, the Junker Queen, who I'm sure she has a name, but that's what they were calling her. She seemed cool.
Yeah.
She like hits people. She has a shotgun and like a melee weapon. So she's like an up close thing. She has like charge moves and stuff. She seemed neat.
Is this the goddess that Junkrat worships?
Yeah. Because like they've mentioned her like in dialogue right before, but they've never seen her. But now she's like an actual character.
Yeah.
In the game.
Cool.
So yeah, it's cool. I think only good things will come from that eventually, and it's coming in October.
One of the few games that's actually coming out this year.
I know. For real. But yeah. Redfall. Let's talk about it.
I cannot wait, dude. It looks so good.
It looks cool.
It looks cool. One thing I thought was interesting though was I thought the moments that look the best were the moments that took place outside. And like most of the things that took place inside, it wasn't that it wasn't interesting. I just thought there wasn't, like, it was almost so dark that it was like tough to see what was even going on.
When
like
they were
detail-wise.
blasting that vampire with like a bunch of shotgun blasts in that attic.
Yeah.
There's that, and then like even before that, when you're in the church. But like as soon as you get outside, like it feels, obviously it feels a lot more open. But like
it feels like you can just breathe.
Yeah,
like
yeah. It felt very claustrophobic anytime you were indoors. But it does look pretty awesome, just the way that you can mix it. Like having played like next to no arcane games, and owning,
I would say this
Deathloop.
looks very unlike the other arcane games.
Well, I was gonna say, I like that they seem to have a thing where it's like let's take a first person shooter and then do a thing with it. Like you either get an ability, like as well as just weapons and things like that. This just seems like it has a very specific thing that it's going for, and
nothing else.
And nothing else. Yeah, like it's just easy to understand. When you watch the gameplay of it.
I'm with you. I think it looks really cool. I was reading that it's like open world apparently, and you can play it by yourself, like as the trailer said, which I probably won't. I will probably be playing and it's coming to Game Pass, which is amazing. So I will definitely be playing this with like my game group. My hope is that it is at least crossplay with PC, which seems like is possible. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I'm really hoping that is the case.
We're getting a lot more of those nowadays. So,
we're getting a lot more of that, especially from Microsoft. Like a lot of games, even that are like third-party games, are getting at least crossplay with their own platform.
Yeah.
And Capcom has been showing a lot of stuff. Street Fighter 6 is going to be getting that also. So it's coming to Guilty Gear Strive soon. So like we're entering the phase where like crossplay is becoming much more of a regular thing. So I don't think it's necessarily unreasonable to.
I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it should be the
not.
default. I think it should be the default at this point. People make games, to be honest. It seems like Sony is sort of giving up giving up in terms of their whole thing, because and they just should. Like I'm sorry, it's better for everyone if they just gave up the fight, because it doesn't make people go, well then I guess I'll go buy it on PlayStation. It means people just get mad, you know. It's like one of those situations where like, would you rather people were happy, or because they're going to stop playing eventually, would you rather they stopped playing and they were really happy when they left, or would you rather they were just pissed off? Like but the game, I going back to Redfall, I think the game looks really cool. I liked the characters so far, like in the just like the banter and stuff seemed like pretty funny. I liked that the one lady had the robot and was like, "Who's a good bot?" And I was like, "Yes." What a fun character with the thing. I like that it's kind of goofy too. Like it's not like Back for Blood was kind of like serious. It was like we're in the apocalypse and it's zombies and there's like not really levity here. This feels like, it's the apocalypse and there's vampires, but also like...
It's also like a video game.
It's also a video game, right? So it's like colorful and fun. It's like a comic book kind of. It's got like a very like Shaun of the Dead sort of comic book feel going on, like that I'm into. It's hitting all the right notes, I would say, at least for me personally. Whether or not the story is any good, we'll see. But like, it looks fun.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm into it. And Game Pass is only a plus. Like for the people in my group that play, like the 4 of us, we all have Game Pass. So anytime something's like cross-platform, Game Pass, co-op, those 3 things, we're gonna try it. Like pretty much without fail. We're gonna at least try whatever it is. So I'm looking forward to playing this next year. I wish it was this year, but it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I wanted to mention about Diablo 4 was they really did, and I mean Diablo 3 had most of this, but they did hit all the right notes of local couch co-op, online co-op, crossplay between Xbox, PC, and other platforms. Like they having all of that just like out the gate, it's like we don't care where you play it. Like that's just such a good feeling. I was surprised at how many people in on the social team at IGN like have never played a Diablo game, and they're like, this looks kind of fun and I can play it wherever. And I was like, it's very fun. You should get it. Like
there's a reason
the ultimate podcast game.
Yeah.
There aren't that many games that were so fun that there was an entire genre that spawned
off of
that was name plus clone.
Right.
There was first person shooter wasn't a thing for a long time. It was, this is a Doom clone.
Right.
Yeah.
We still have some of those like roguelikes. That's still one that we use now.
Yeah.
Like we don't have a genre for that. It's still roguelike. Metroid style games, Metroidvanias, although I don't like calling them Metroidvanias because that gives Castlevania way too much credit that it doesn't deserve, because Metroid absolutely did that shit first. And then, games like this. So it's I'm freaking Diablo clones. When Torchlight came out, oh, it's a Diablo clone, stuff like this.
Torchlight 1. I like
Torchlight 1. Yeah, Diablo and Torchlight have kind of gone the Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row route, where like it started as a copy and now it's kind of something else.
I wish I liked Torchlight more. I haven't really liked any of them.
Yeah,
unfortunately, and
they've been they've been kind of close, but it's like
they're almost good.
There's something missing from that. But Diablo, like each of the one I've played the least actually is the first one. But I've beaten all the other ones. I'm not gonna play Diablo Immortal because that shit is offensive to me. What they're doing.
I'll play it when the
it's on PC.
Thing gets mapped out.
It's on PC. I've heard that it's horrendous on PC.
Oh, really?
That it's actually way better if you're just using touch controls.
Oh, wow.
Is what I've heard. But with controls, with using a controller or like stuff like that, it's like significantly worse. But even then, just the monetization and stuff like that is just like really. Oh yeah, Becky in the chat says lots of PT clones, which is crazy considering it was just a demo. Yeah. Things that have promise where they're doing something either unique or they're doing something the best that it's been done, you're going to have a lot of imitators. And that's the case with Diablo. Like the loot thing, the closest that we've ever gotten to a Diablo clone that was actually awesome is Borderlands, which then became a whole thing. And that's in a different genre. It's just scratching that same itch of the loot drops and stuff like that. And a lot of games have tried to do this, but it's not the same. I really hope that Diablo 4 can split the difference between the kind of bombastic fun of 3 and the like serious kind of tense atmosphere and like meaningful choices that you were making in Diablo 2. If they can strike like a balance between those two, I think that Diablo 4 is really going to be awesome.
I think so too. It looks awesome. Like I always thought it looked really cool. They were showing like a lot of the environments. They have this like really awesome just aesthetic. Like they look like every single piece of that game looks like some fucking death metal cover, and you're like, oh, God, fuck yeah, And then they show that big like world event that's happening with the boss, and like the animation boss and the thing like swinging around. I was like, this looks
Swinging
so
around
good.
that cube at the end of the chain, and
Yeah.
it's like hitting the ground and like flopping to the side. And,
yeah, I was like, fuck, this like the animation work that they did is like brilliant. It's well done. I'm like, man,
which is like Blizzard is always great with that sort of stuff. But
yeah, I was like, God damn, this looks so good. And I'm just like, please, please, Bobby, get out of here. Like soon. I need to play this like with every fiber of my being. It's like this just looks so damn good.
Yeah. And one thing that I really appreciate is that like I feel like I love Diablo 3. I think it's great. I do
too. I think
anything else, but
it's amazing.
But one thing that I think Diablo 3 was missing is the feeling of like foreboding and kind of like just a sinister atmosphere, which I got in spades from 2.
It's more World of Warcrafty for sure,
yeah.
because they even retconned like a lot of the lore, the Diablo lore in 3.
Which is a shame. I don't love that. But but the thing about 2 is like in the basements, like when I was going down inside these dungeons, like I would walk into rooms and like the hairs on my neck would stand up. Like it was just creepy as hell in Diablo 2.
Also, everything was super dangerous.
Yes, and I'm hoping that I get that feel. I'm hoping that it's like it's not really a power fantasy. This is kind of like a survival horror game meets a power fantasy. You know,
you'll get both. But by the time you hit endgame, you're always like,
for sure,
the most efficient godlike being that's ever walked the earth, right? So like,
yeah, but Diablo 3 was still like it wasn't. Diablo 3, I never felt that sort of dread or tense sort of stuff, and I really hope that they can bring that back with 4. And just looking at the screens, like I get a little bit of that just from the environmental design and things like that. I'm getting a little bit of that. So I'm hoping that it delivers on that like just absolute creep show factor that I'm thirsty for. You know,
we'll definitely see.
We will indeed. We will indeed. What else? Is there anything else that was notable from here?
Not from
that I had.
Xbox. I mean, they showed a lot of stuff, but
yeah.
I was like super hoping that when they talked about Elder Scrolls Online that they were finally going to be like cross-platform play is coming, which is something people wanted for a long time and they still haven't announced. Please, like please, for the love of God, like I want.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things holding me back from playing is because like I just really prefer the game on PC, but some of my friends don't have a PC good enough to run Elder Scrolls Online, and it's like, man, just oh my God, please, like crossplay. If this game had crossplay, it would be. And it's already one of the best MMOs ever, but it would be fucking just. It would add so much to the game. So I wait with bated breath.
So I got this. So I have a I got High Isle, so I have it. So if you're I got I was sent a key for it, so I'm gonna jump in. I'm in the middle of reviewing something else that we're gonna get into in a little bit.
I mean, what's nice is you'll be able to just jump into that.
Exactly.
That's just the way the game works.
Exactly, because I haven't put in that much time into the game previously.
Yeah.
I've wanted to, but there's just been too much else.
I played a decent amount of just the launch area. I own like Morrowind and one of the other ones, but I've like not really touched them. But I've played maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of the like base game, let's call it. And like it's really fun. It's like playing Skyrim with other people around, and it has a dope housing system and a lot of other like super neat shit. Like it's just a really neat MMO that's doing something like totally different than like say WoW or Final Fantasy. Like and it's really good at what it's doing.
And you don't have to pay a sub.
And you don't have to pay a subscription. Yeah, you basically just pay like you can. They have ESO Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't have to pay for it. You can just buy the content and just play the game, and it's fucking awesome. Like it's a great game. I highly recommend it. I know people get turned off by the like online part, but I'm like, if you like Elder Scrolls, like you honestly have no excuse. Like it's especially if you're like a super fan, you have no fucking excuse because it is just like playing an Elder Scrolls game. Like if you want it to be, it feels exactly like that.
When I wrote that guide for fishing in Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, the anniversary edition when that came out, I was like, dang, like this is like I could do one of these again, but like I did so much of Skyrim that I was like, I don't really want to do that. So maybe ESO will be like that thing.
Yeah. It's great too. Like I also just love the scaling of everything where it's like you're a high level player and your friend is brand new and you don't feel like you're babysitting them, you know?
Yeah,
you're like, no, I'm getting shit too, right? You know? Like
oh my
that
God.
stuff's just cool.
I just had a thought. Because they gave me everything. So I have the whole thing on Steam. And my Steam Deck is on its way.
Oh my
so
God.
If this thing works on there, then maybe I'll be able to do that. I don't know.
It is good on console. It's just I feel like the inventory management is not as good.
It has a gold on ProtonDB.
What is that? Is that the highest?
No. It says gold.
Why is gold not the highest?
It says gold because platinum is the highest.
Platinum's usually higher.
It says gold, but it's unsupported.
When you
Steam Deck
are in a race,
Steam Deck unsupported,
and you go faster than everyone else, what medal do they give you?
Platinum.
No, they don't, you liar. They give you gold. PlayStation came out with their platinum trophies and just fucked everything right up.
This also says Borderlands Game of the Year edition is Steam Deck unsupported. Game of the Year Enhanced is unsupported, but the regular Game of the Year is supported.
Anyway, but I'm excited for that, and I don't mind if I need to play that on like my laptop or my PC or whatever. But that would just be a great excuse. I got plenty of bite-sized stuff that I'm gonna jump into on my Steam Deck.
Vampire Survivor.
So fucking amped. I'm so amped. Dude, I literally saw somebody post a screenshot from Vampire Survivors, and 80% of the stuff they had is stuff I've never even seen. And I'm just like, wow.
Dude, the game's amazing.
Game's got a lot of shit in it.
It has a lot of shit, and they keep adding shit.
Yeah.
It was like triple baby throw, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 50 hours in it, and I haven't unlocked everything yet. Like
it's like Santa water. I'm like, what?
And
is
it's still
that?
in early access.
I had to force myself to stop playing it because
because it's so good.
It's so addictive.
Yeah. It's got that brain
I had to
drug.
uninstall it because I was like, I'm just not doing anything. I'm just doing this.
Yeah.
I need to do something else with my life.
It's so good.
I've had to force myself to I haven't touched it in a while because that reason.
Particularly because runs are like 30 minutes long. So it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only
if
games.
You make it, most of the time I do.
Yeah, it's one of the only games that I can play where I feel like you could just find me drooling in a corner with my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
If you ever get turned into a zombie, I'm just gonna handcuff you like Nick Frost's character from Shaun of the Dead and put you out in the shed and just put Zombie Survivors on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Vampire Survivors. Zombie Survivors would be the one in our movie that's like not licensed, but
but
you all know what it is.
People know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're aware.
Yeah. I understood that reference. But yeah, so that's all the stuff that was going on with the presentations, which is wild because that was basically an entire show. I do want to touch on some games that I've been playing though, because I got so many games that hold on, let me count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games that I've played, and I watched 2 movies.
Jesus.
But here's the thing. We've had special episodes for like the past 2 weeks, and then the week before that, we didn't even record. So it's been a while. But I do want to talk about 2 games. I want to talk about 2 games real quick. I don't know if you guys have anything that you wanted to touch on.
Not for now. I mean, I do, but
you do.
But I'm not going to bring anything up.
So do you want to ping pong back and forth? I'll do one, you do one, and then I do one.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been playing Card Shark. Have you guys seen this? You guys seen this game?
I have heard of this.
So Card Shark is this game that's set in like the 1850s in France. And you play a damn cheater.
I wanted you to be able to. I thought you were going to say you play a shark. I would have been way more interested all of a sudden.
Card Shark, and you're like a gambling actual
shark. Yeah.
And if somebody tries to cheat you, you just eat them. That'd be dope. But no, you play this young kind of squire this young guy who is picked up by this dubious chap called Comte de Saint Germain, and he's basically taking you all around and teaching you all of these sleight of hand and cheating card tricks as he's going around and investigating something called the 12 Bottles of Milk, which is some sort of mystery that like people are being killed to hush it up. And it has to do with a woman who's disappeared, and she has some sort of connection to the king. And all that sort of stuff just kind of unfolds. The writing is really good. It's really, really fun. The interesting thing is, as you're basically on your way to each of the encounters, they're teaching you a new card trick that you're gonna do to like swindle the people that you're fighting or that you're going up against. So you're sitting down at these tables. Let's just give you an example from really early on. One of the first things that you do in the game is when you first meet Comte de Saint Germain, he's sitting down at the pub where you work, and he's like, "Boy, bring me some wine, and then bring some to my opponent, and look at his cards while you're pouring the wine, and then come back, and you'll wipe your I'm known as a fastidious person, so nobody will question this. You'll pick up my cup and you'll wipe the table underneath it. And the way that you wipe it will tell me what their highest card is. And the way that you lift the glass will tell me what the highest value is, or like the suit or something like this. And then you have to do this. And the longer you take to do each individual thing, there's like a meter that's slowly filling up of like, this person is being suspicious of you. Or, you know, if you really screw something up, it'll like shoot up. And then if the worst should happen, like you can get shot and killed and then you got to start over or something like that. It's so interesting. The art is beautiful. Like, Chris, I don't know if you're looking at this.
Yeah, it looks very hand drawn.
Yeah. It's really good. It's got a lot of character. But as you go, you just keep going, and they teach you more and more and more tricks, and you can combine them. Like there's one where like you're going to be dealing, and there's like a shiny object that you have, which is like where you rest your pipe. And as you're passing the thing, you like look at the reflection of your opponent's card so that you'll know. And it's basically just different ways of ascertaining or stacking the deck, or like, oh, I'm going to pull a card from the top and bottom at the same time. And like there's all kinds of stuff that you have to like, that you're doing at the same time, and you have to manage all of this, and then you're also placing bets. And if you start betting more money over like the baseline, they'll also get more suspicious. And the idea is that you're either trying to get money out of these people to fund your operation, or you're trying to make the match go on long enough where you're winning so you can pressure the people to reveal information that you need. And it's like really interesting. It's definitely a very, very interesting game. There are a couple of things that I don't like about it. One, if you screw up, there's no way to like if you accidentally commit to something or like hit the wrong button, there's so many specific things. So like if you're trying to pushing up, pushing left, and pushing right on the analog stick will do different things when you're thumbing through the deck trying to like stack it. And if you push the wrong one, or you try to back out by selecting B, it can take you to like the next phase of the thing. Even if you're still in like a back room trying to manipulate the deck, it'll be like, okay, I'm done with that now. And then you can't do anything about it. You can't like pull the deck back out and like fix what you screwed up. And if you screw up, you have to like repeat that whole section again, or you may lose money, or you could die and then have to repeat that again. So like it's that you can exit out of the game. Like you can go start and then like literally go back to the menu because it auto saves in between sections. But that's like also kind of annoying when like your error is very minor, not being able to like fix that. But and there's so much to remember in how you have to pull off these tricks and how specifically they work mechanically, because it's like a series of mini games that you're doing. So that holds it back from like getting into my top 3 of the year, but it's definitely in the conversation. It's definitely still one of my favorite games of the year. And I found out like several like really interesting twists of what's going on with the story, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. It's just like there's that little bit of friction that's like keeping myself from committing to it fully, particularly because of how fucking phenomenal the next game I'm going to talk about is. But yeah, like Card Shark, definitely check it out. I know that there are some other people that I know, Jarrett on Twitter, who like we know through the games industry Discord and stuff. He's another person who works in the industry. I think he said this is his game of the year right now. And I get it. I feel like if maybe, another thing, like certain things are like time sensitive. So like the thing that I was talking about is looking at people's cards, and while you're pouring wine into the glass, if you don't lean into the pour and pour faster, you actually can't lean forward enough to like see their cards for a long time. And it took me a while to like clock and like read through and like perceive what their cards were. And by the time that I was overflowing their glass, and then they were suspicious and stuff. So like I would have loved to have seen accessibility options that would have like been like, let's give you double the time before somebody gets suspicious, or something, just to make it easier for like, and I'm not sure whether this is just like a personal thing with me of like, it's hard for me to recognize the difference between suits unless I look at it for a second. Like I can look at the colors and stuff, but like the difference at a distance between spade and club is like, or between heart and diamond is like, it takes me a minute to get it. And it was so long that it was like causing problems. I was still able to get through it. I think I'm like over halfway through the game now, or maybe 3/4 of the way through the game or something like that. But just like stuff like that has been like tripping me up a little bit. I've had to repeat things more than I would have wanted to. So like, if they had accessibility features where it was like, we're giving you just extra time, or like time doesn't move forward while you're doing like this thing, or just something like Celeste, like accessibility options, this would be definitely in the top 3 for the year for sure. But yeah, like just check it out. It's awesome. I'm playing it on Switch, but it's also on PC.
Nice.
So, what were you getting into, Chris?
I have been getting into Mario Strikers Battle League, which is, man, what a freaking game this is.
Is it good?
The replayability of this is unbelievable. Matches are only, and it's so easy to pick up and play. Matches are only 4 minutes long, which, because of animations and things like that, take about 10 minutes each. And I'm just having like the best time with it.
Wait, hold on. 4-minute matches take 10 minutes?
Well, because like it's a 4-minute game. It's like watching like football. It's like, okay, there's only 15
but
minutes
in
a court. Well, no, it's like, yeah, like time stops when like if you score or the opponent scores, it cuts to an animation. You know, and then it'll do a replay. And like
it cuts to a 6-minute celebration.
Yeah,
outside of the goal.
It's like a bowling alley animation for when you get a strike. It's all like 3DS Max, like bowling balls going like this.
Turkeys popping up.
Yeah.
Is this the Mario sports game that I need to jump into?
It is one that I think pretty much anybody that is into Mario sports games should jump into. I think it's the best one on Switch.
All right.
I think Mario Tennis Aces, I think gameplay wise is very good, but the story content kind of ruined that game, which is funny because there is no story content in Mario Strikers Battle League. It is really just, there is a normal mode cup and there is a hard mode cup, and then there is online. There's like an online football club that you can start with your friends. You can play with people online. And that's how you unlock different abilities, and you can like customize your side of the field. So like the field is split in half whenever you start a match, and it's like your team's half and then the opposing team's half. And you can customize what your side of the field is going to look like, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's just, like if you've never played a Mario Strikers game, it's very visceral. You were just like decking Mario characters left and right, and body slamming people into electric fences, and the animations
electric
in it.
fences.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
animations in it are pretty amazing. But it's content-wise, it is light. I will say that. But what is there? Like, I did all the normal mode cups, and now I'm in hard mode, and like, I thought I was good at this game, and now I feel like a child just getting the crap kicked out of them by like some high school bully. It is insane how difficult, and it's possible I'm just terrible at this game. It's very possible because I don't do sports. But I get like so amped up when I play this game. And just like cursing at the TV, just like, let's fucking go, you know, like I'm having such a good time. And Jess hasn't even been playing it. She's just been like, she played soccer for 22 years, and has been watching me play, and has been enjoying that. Like, let me see the replay. Like, oh my God, you know, like, so that's been fun. It
Nice.
does support 8-player multiplayer locally. So if you have that many people over, like, it can get really, really hectic.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be adding new content. Everybody keeps saying, because Daisy's not in it, they're expecting Daisy to, you know, appear in the game at some point.
Oh, Daisy.
But yeah, you get like gear, and you can customize your character and your stats. You know, there's things to chase and things to unlock, you know, in that regard. But it is just one of those perfect games of like, ooh, I have 20 minutes. I can maybe get a match or two in. You know,
Nice.
you can hop in. It has the same type of loop that like a fighting game would for me, where like one that I'm really into, where it's like, yeah, I just need to practice a little bit. Like, you know, like I feel myself getting better at it. But it's super fun. I haven't played online yet. We did start.
Are you afraid?
Well, no. I was like, oh, I'll do all the normal and hard mode stuff, and then I'll do online. And I don't think I'm good enough to beat hard mode in this game. Quite honestly, I can't get past the first cup. But Logan did start a Toadstool Boardroom football club. So if anybody wants to join, let us know. But I definitely recommend it. It's a super fun pick up and play, you know, weekend game for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So the other game that I've been playing is one that I was actually sent a key for out of the blue. And this game was not on my radar at all. And now it is in my top 3 favorite games of this year, alongside Elden Ring and Citizen Sleeper. And that is Freshly Frosted. This game is incredible. Definitely pull up some stuff about this game, Chris, and show the people, because my God, this is a puzzle game. So this is a puzzle game where you play as a young lady who imagines her problems as donut factories. And so that's like the setup, is like she just kind of thinks about things while she's kind of chilling in a field. And there's just these clouds floating in the sky, and there's a box, and there's a donut factory. There's a donut conveyor belt, and your job is to create a conveyor belt flow that goes through all the places that it needs to go through to get it to the end with all the toppings that they need.
I'm in.
It's like
This looks like a great Steam Deck game.
I've been playing it on Switch, and it is godlike.
Yeah.
Like, it is incredible. It's also, it is on Steam, so like you could probably play it on Steam Deck. It's on Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. And it's only like $10. I think it was on sale for $6 or something.
Yeah, it's
like that. Like,
it's like on Steam right now for like $8.
Added to wish list.
The game has such catchy, beautiful, relaxing music. There's voiceover for every one of the puzzles that you're doing, and it's just this delightful person that's talking about, sometimes I wonder, what would it be like to have a cold donut? Like, you know, like something like, it's very like innocent and fun. And like the first time that I finished a puzzle, it was like, hey, great job. Like voice acted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that just feels so good. Like, this is just a
Thanks, donut lady.
So Elden Ring is like a very intense but satisfying, like very solitary experience that you can also enjoy with friends. Citizen Sleeper is a very kind of cerebral, dark, dystopian future look at like human rights and consciousness and things like this. Freshly Frosted is just feel good vibes. And I needed this, and this is definitely in my top 3 for the year. There's some of these, like I'm looking at the solutions for some of my puzzles. Like I've taken screenshots of a bunch of them because some of these solutions, like some of the things, I'm just like, that is so beautiful. The solution to this is so clever and so good. Like this is so crisp and clean, and just everything is just, it's beautiful. Like it's, you know, have you ever seen like, not like necessarily like a math equation, but you've just seen something that's not really art, but like something that's done so efficiently, like the design or architecture of something, and you're just like, that is immaculate.
Yeah.
Like whatever that, I feel this all the time in this game.
Wow.
Like just when I'm coming up with the solution and I'm like, oh, I bet this is how you do it. And it just flows out of me. Just this intuition of just like, oh, this is how it needs to go, to the right and then down, and then to the right and then down. And then like, I'm just building like these waterfalls of conveyor belts. It's a glorious experience. Like I have not played a game that is so just wholesome fun in such a long time. It's so good, you guys. Like I don't think I really think I have a bad thing to say about it. Like,
wow.
Playing it on Switch on the big screen, like sometimes when they call each section, they call it a box. And so when you finish a donut box, it will zoom out from your final puzzle, which the final puzzle in each one is like harder than the rest of them. And it will then zoom back over all of the ones that you've done. And it will show your factories making rhythmically making donuts to the music as you're going back through, and it'll show you all your solutions back to the first one in that box. And then it'll close the box and it'll move to the next box. And it's just like everything from presentation to the art to the music to the voiceover, like everything is great. Everything's great. It's awesome. Like nice. I don't know what else to say. I'm definitely gonna keep going. Oh, and
sounds great.
There's hints. So if you go to, there's only one hint that I could find. But like per puzzle, it'll populate a section of it that is like part of the solution. So you don't have to do it. And then you can also skip puzzles. So if you just get to a point where you're just like, this one is too hard for me, you can just move past it.
Yeah.
So it's freaking great. Like what else could you ask for? It's awesome. And I'm like glowing about this game. I want to go play it.
Wow, man.
But yeah, so I don't really have anything else I have a lot else that I want to talk about, but we are like, it's long.
Yeah.
Long. We need to wrap this one up. So anybody have any closing thoughts?
The only other game I want to mention that I forgot about until you mentioned Freshly Frosted. There was a game in the Wholesome Direct called Melatonin that if you haven't looked it up on Steam, you definitely should. It comes out in September or August, I forget. But the entire game is just like lo-fi vibes, but you do these like rhythmic, it's like a rhythm game that everything in it just like feels good to do. So it's like you're like a little man, and like you have to like jump on a bunch of buttons, and like if you do it in sequence, like it just like it's supposed to like provide you melatonin, and like the idea is just like everything in it is just like very, very satisfying to do and to look at. And it's all like in sync with music and everything. It just looks very satisfying, quite honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but there's a trailer out there for it. Definitely check it out. That was like what they closed the Wholesome Direct with. So I have a feeling whenever that game comes out,
Wholesome Direct. Another thing we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's too many of them.
Yeah.
PC Game Show, like there's too many of them.
Yeah.
There are too many of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody for listening to episode 234 of the Platformers. If you want to check us out, you can watch us record the show live at twitch.tv/platformerspod. Check archives at youtube.com/platformerspod. And if you want to hit us up on Twitter, you can hit us up at twitter.com/platformerspod. You can also find us individually on Twitter and all sorts of places. You can find me at Ribnax, Ribnax. If you want to check out, if you're for whatever reason still playing Elden Ring, you can check out my guides at IGN.com. And I've actually got my first GameSpot piece that's going up pretty soon. So keep a lookout for that. I played Leap, which is an online multiplayer shooter, and I wrote up some tips for beginners. So that's going to be my first thing going up. It's going to be going up in probably the next couple of days or so. Yeah, might be tomorrow. So watch my Twitter, and I'll definitely tweet it out. But yeah, so other than that, just big chilling. Audrey's on vacation this week, so I think we're gonna go down to the beach.
Nice,
nice.
Gonna relax. Wait for my Steam Deck to roll in. But yeah, Josh, what's going on with you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Jawa Josh. I don't tweet that much, but if you want to see all the cool video essay stuff I'm working on, you can go to youtube.com/mediaismythic.
You can find me on Twitter at Shrives93. You can also find me at the Toadstool Boardroom, a Nintendo podcast that records every Wednesday and goes live every Thursday. We are anticipating the Nintendo Direct will be Wednesday at noon Eastern. Mainly because I know someone that got a PR email saying this is embargoed until noon Eastern on a game that hasn't been talked about yet. So we'll see. Hopefully we get that news tonight or tomorrow, but that may be what this week is. If not, I don't know what this week is going to be.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, please review us on your podcast platform of choice. Follow us and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? Go out there and have yourself some fruit. Just because I've been having some fresh pineapple chunks. That shit is real good.
Just don't eat too much because you'll get ulcers.
Yeah. Real good.
Yeah.
But eat enough so you don't get scurvy. Anyways, from everybody here at the Platformers, we hope that you have a wonderful week out there and stay safe, because until next time, we are out.
Bye.
Hey!